and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, utility and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public interest of the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Red Wing to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and the public works program in respective communities. And whereas the year 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Michael Wilson, Mayor of the City of Red Wing, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week, and I urge all citizens to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize this substantial contribution they make protecting our health, safety, and quality of life. Given my hand and the seal of City of Red Wing, the 9th day of May in the year 2022. So I will present this to Rick. He's not here tonight, so I will present this out to him at a later date.
Great. And Rick, do you want to say anything? I see that you're on. Welcome.
Sure. I'd like to thank Mayor Wilson for reading this proclamation for the crews of Public Works and Engineering. And we appreciate our recognition given by the mayor tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you to Public Works. We'll give them a round too. Another hardworking team in our city. And the final is the National Police Week Proclamation. On October 1st, 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed Public Law 87-726, declaring May 15th, 2022 as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as National Police Week. And Mayor, I'll welcome you to read that proclamation.
All right, thank you, President Martin. It's my pleasure and honor today to make this proclamation, National Police Week. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States of America have designated the 15th of May as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15 falls as National Police Week. Whereas the members of the law enforcement agencies of Red Wing, Goodhue County, and the state of Minnesota unceasingly provide a vital public service playing an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the people of Red Wing. And whereas it's important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies, and that members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Michael Wilson, Mayor of the City of Red Wing, call upon all people of Red Wing and patriotic civic and educational organizations to observe the week of May 15th through the 21st as Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorative law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves inevitable and enduring reputation preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Be it further resolved that I call upon all citizens of Red Wing to observe the 15th of May 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in our service to our community, including Red Wing Police Chief James Daly, Officer John Peterson, Goodhue County Sheriff Sergeant Richard Waldron, and Deputy Tom Carroll. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes.
Thank you, Captain Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Wilson. And a round of applause for our hardworking police officers as well. All right, number 7 is presentations and public comment. Being no presentations tonight, I'll jump right into public comment. We're now at the public comment segment where members of the public can speak on topics that are not on the agenda. Anyone who cannot attend the meeting but would like to have their comments entered in the public record may submit those emails before 3 p.m. or register in that email or phone number before 3 p.m. Any emails received will not be read aloud, but will be entered into the record for this meeting and shared with elected leaders. Those who signed up on the sheet in the lobby will be called to speak first. After that, just raise your hand, and if you'd like to address the council, we appreciate you stating your name, what city you live in, and if you live in Red Wing, please provide either your address, your ward number, your street name, or your neighborhood area. You will have up to 3 minutes to share your thoughts, and please remember that personal attacks may be ruled out of order. We appreciate your time in attending tonight. There being nobody in chambers, I'm going to just pause for a moment to see if there's anybody online tonight who wishes to make public comment. You can unmute your mic or unmute your video or use the raise your hand symbol at the bottom of the WebEx. Give anybody a moment just to figure that system out. Seeing none, I'm going to move on to item 8, board and commission communications. First is item 8A, board and commission appointments. The first item is consider motion to approve Chad Kono to the Advisory Planning Commission for a first term expiring December 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Evan, second by Dean. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, welcome, Chad Kono. Next item is consider motion to appoint Yelba Olson to the Sister Cities Commission for a first term expiring December 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kim, second by Dean. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, welcome Kyle to give us a Port Authority update, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. As I state in our report here, the port actually did not meet this week here like we normally would because of a conflict, or last week because of a conflict with the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. So I'm giving you just a brief update here on some activities that we have going on. I would point out that our meeting will be taking place tomorrow morning at 7:30. So just maybe to start out with, there's 3 things that we have on that agenda, and these are all things that we assume will get voted on by the port and move forward. But one is we received an application for a technical assistance grant to assist the developer of the Associated Bank building, hire an architect, a potential engineer to come through and help him start formulating some potential costs and plans for that particular building. So we see this as a nice next step in trying to get that building redeveloped, and are continuing to work with that developer on a number of different issues related to potential public financing and assistance for that building. In addition to that technical assistance grant, which again will be considered by the Port Authority Board tomorrow morning, we've been working with our consultants with New History to help kind of walk the developer through the tax credit process. And so that is looking, I think, promising in terms of, one, the tax credits being extended with the state for another few years, if not more than that. But also the fact that we have a district that meets the requirements for certification, which makes the district eligible for these types of projects. So that seems like it could be a very good way to help fund some of the improvements that are being proposed, especially for the historic structure. And then we're continuing to work with our financial consultants on developing a more robust, I think, schedule for potential tax increment financing. And as you'll know, the council's been asked to conduct a workshop in a couple of weeks to meet with Baker Tilly and kind of go through some options for this site and then another potential downtown development site as well. So we're excited to bring those projects forward to you for further discussion here in the next few weeks. And then the port also did receive a few other technical assistance grants, really being sponsored by Downtown Main Street for several buildings in downtown. They've tried to work with some property owners to develop projects that they think might help promote and lead to future redevelopment, including looking at some elevators or shared elevators between some buildings, and then looking at reuse of some upper floors. The port committee that looked at this, the finance committee, did want to get more information from Downtown Main Street, from the property owners, then had some questions about how these potential applications and grants might fit within our overall kind of budget and scope of how we've laid out these programs. So they'll be spending a little more time, probably the next few weeks, you're going through that and developing a little more response and a little more information for the group as a whole. And then I think the last kind of business item that we'll be talking about is the The board did go out for RFP to develop a property condition assessment for the Bauer Built building. This is what we see as an important next step in helping really understand what needs to go into renovating that building to bring in possible new tenants. And that will really kind of set the stage then for going out for an RFP from private developers or for the city to take a more active role in developing that building and bringing tenants in. We've also been working with our consultants on interviewing potential developers for the property. We've done this to help get the word out about the building, but also to get some feedback from developers about what they see in that building and what might interest them about doing a project in Red Wing, or conversely, if they're not interested in doing a project here. We've heard back from about 3 or 4 of those individuals. Another couple said they weren't interested in Red Wing in general, but we're getting some good feedback about, again, what their interest might be in the building, which again, hopefully sets the stage then for the next step of either bringing in a consultant to do a project or finding a way to work more collaboratively where the city takes a more active lead. And then the last update here is one thing I did want to share with you is that on April 25th, the city and the port participated in a ED partners meeting to really take a step back and try to do some more general planning about that group. And I'm assuming the council is somewhat familiar with our economic development partners. This is a group that's been active for a number of years here with the intent of really promoting communication and collaboration between all of the city's various economic development partners, including the Chamber, the VCB, Red Wing Ignite, the Technical College, Downtown Main Street, and the Red Wing Arts Association. And please forgive me if I've left anybody off that list that should be on that list. So again, it was a good opportunity for all of us to kind of take a step back, do a little bit of a reset, and then kind of meet with the groups and have hopefully, the idea was to gain a better understanding of what we can bring to the table and how we can move forward with concrete and specific projects. So in this case, the event was led by the University of Minnesota Extension Service, and they kind of walked us through an exercise of what they call strategic doing. So I gave you a few slides from that discussion. Just take a look at it. You can see what we've been up to. The first slide just kind of lays out how the group kind of met and the ground rules for the meeting. The second slide really kind of lays out the framing question that was asked to the partners, which is, imagine businesses of all sizes who are excited to start, build, expand, or relocate to Red Wing because of our rich assets and economic development community support, and asking what would that look like? So it really was a way for the group to kind of be centered around a specific question, again, really getting at the core of what each group is trying to do in terms of supporting growth and development in Red Wing. There was a fairly long conversation about what kind of assets each organization brings to the table. And I think this, goes beyond some of the discussions we've had previously to really hone in on, what does your organization do well? What can you do as part of our group? And so it's really nice to be able to hear the different perspectives and different strengths that each entity has. And I think it was good because we do have several new members here that have not been here for a long time, and that do bring some new skills and new enthusiasm and ideas to the table. So it was really kind of nice to have that conversation. And then lastly, there was the whole point of the exercise was to try to identify one project that the group could kind of coalesce around and move forward with and kind of work together on. And so there were a number of ideas thrown out there. The one that rose to the top, as you'll see here in the very last slide in the packet, this idea about really serving as a way to promote and do positive messaging about development projects happening in the community. And we thought this was a really kind of nice way or something that could have a really high impact, but also not really, cost a lot or take a ton of time to actually accomplish. And so part of the idea there is that as we continue to talk about development projects, and using the Bauer Built building as an example, it's really it might be a way for us to get the word out in the community about the project to help show that project in a positive light and help build support and interest in doing something with that building. So there's a number of tasks here that we talked about doing. So you'll see in this very last slide again, where we kind of talk about what we're going to be doing. Each group was kind of tasked with bringing information to the table or doing something related to this with the idea of getting, a positive message out about a particular project. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because I was charged with giving the council an update on what this group's been up to, so you're aware of what they've been talking about. And we really would like to see council support too to help move that effort forward and continue to participate with the economic development partners in a way that hopefully is positive and brings good energy into the community. So I've talked a lot, so I think if there's any questions about the information in your packet, let me know, or if you have any specific questions about what we've been up to with our economic development partners, I'm happy to address those at this time.
I have one question with the economic partners meeting and your sort of work in collaborating that or coordinating that. You talked about one specific project that you kind of said you'll focus around, but tell me what the next steps are to really sort of define the roles of all of these different partners, that where people overlap, complement each other and overlap, and where there's not so much overlap. How are we working on that? I mean, clarifying those roles and responsibilities of each of the different groups. I mean, it's complex.
It is, and I think part of what we're kind of going back to is what each group said was kind of their core area of strength. So in this case, with using the Bauer Built building as an example, the city would be bringing information to the group. And that's kind of our role, is to just share, what is this project? What's it about? What are the details? What more do they want to know about it, so they can really respond effectively. And then from there, I think we're still having those conversations in the group about who's going to kind of do what. I think the chamber and the VCB, for instance, have said they're really good at kind of getting out and doing marketing type stuff and getting information out. So that's probably something they'll be charged with doing. Other groups, can maybe go to their respective organizations and share information and be able to answer questions and bring things back to the rest of us. So I think we're still kind of finding our way around that, since this is really kind of a pilot project for the group. And over the next few weeks, we'll be kind of coming back and seeing how we can make this work and function well. One thing that it was pointed out too, though, I think, is that the city has always had and brought our economic development coordinator position to the table, and has had that as a resource for the group to use. Maybe not to do, specifically do work for them, but to help continue this group moving forward and to coordinate the efforts of this group. So as we think about replacing that position, that's something we're really cognizant of too, is making sure that we have the person in place that can help really coordinate some of these efforts too. And I think there's benefits citywide to have that coordination taking place, because it does help make us stronger, but also helps us be more effective in getting our message out and communicating, what each group is doing. And I think that's something that we've been hearing a little bit, is that the city's been pretty good about kind of marketing itself outside the city, but we don't necessarily do a good job of kind of marketing inside the city, to our citizens and those that might be interested in what's going on. So that's something that we'll be definitely working on.
Thank you, Kyle. Evan?
Yeah, Kyle, you mentioned thinking that there's some shift within your department a little bit, and especially in that role in the economic development partners. Can you give a little more detail on how you might see that evolving? Is that role going to stay the same, or do you see a difference in where we're headed there?
Well, it'll stay the same a little bit, but I think one thing that keeps coming up and has been coming up to me time and time again since I've been here, is this idea that we don't really have a lot of horsepower, at least in our department, in community development, to really help promote marketing and get the word out about projects and such. We have a very good relationship with the city's communications folks, but we don't necessarily have somebody, on our staff that really kind of gets that out there and gets the message out on some of these projects. So that, I think, is critical. And then, I think there still needs to be a lot of coordination with this group. Somebody needs to actually take time to organize the group, to get meeting notices out, to help take minutes and help do some follow-up. And so we do see that being an important part of this particular position. And I would say the city back 5-6 years ago, whenever we did some of this initial work, did commit to having some additional staff support to really devote to this particular exercise. So we do see it being related to everything else we have going on in the department, but there's definitely needs there in our department too, that and we have a lot going on right now that we'd like to be able to continue to move forward. So we're still kind of thinking how we're going to mesh all those different responsibilities.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear. There's a lot. I mean, it seems clear to me that there's a variety of needs right now, and we have to kind of figure out how to meet all of them. So I'll look forward to hearing more.
Yeah, and part of the challenge too is some of our partner organizations don't necessarily have a ton of staff capability either, so I think that's where on one hand we want to be able to assist, but we don't necessarily want to just be the staff or provide that staff time for those organizations either. It needs to be part of this overall group effort. So that's where we're trying to really focus on those things that this group should work on, that's different than what each individual organization maybe could be doing individually.
It would be nice to see that how this group helps create efficiencies in that way rather than redundancies, right? So not duplication of each other's work. Nobody has time for that. So yeah, great, Kyle. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to item 8C, Council Liaison Commission Reports. Any council members have any reports? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items anyone wishes to pull? Seeing none.
Move to approve the consent agenda as is. Second.
Motion by Evan, second by Kim to approve the consent agenda as is. Any further, well, we'll just do roll call. Go ahead, Kate.
Stinson. Aye. Hove. Bizey.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Norton. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Item 10, motions and general business. This next item is a motion to adopt resolution number 7763, accepting a $10,000 donation to the Red Wing Fire Department. And Chief Warner, are you coming on? Great. And you'll go over this with Archer Daniels. Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome, Council President, Mayor, council members, Kay, staff. I'm here to talk about the donation request that we received or are asking from your assistance from ADM. Little history is ADM has reached out. They have a corporate giving program, and they've reached out to us to figure out what type of specific needs we have. And inside of the fire department, we've identified individual thermal imaging cameras. So these are little cameras that are about this big that would actually be assigned to each on-duty firefighter that we can wear on our SCBA gear. So we can have that at all times, so we can be able to look for the smoke or the heat to be able to find victims. We can also look for people as they fell on the ice in the wintertime. Specifically at ADM, we can look for grain bins that have fire or on belts or anything. So it's actually a well-diversified item. So technology has really increased on these. We have some older ones and they're big and bulky and they're only one. So the fact that every on-duty firefighter could have one, that would actually go out a long way. So like I said, technology's really improved and really forward to that. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill Simmons if you're okay with that, because he kind of reached out to us. Maybe you want to say anything about it.
Sure.
Welcome, Bill. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. It's kind of nice to come in front of you all offering to give some money instead of asking for it, right? So, we had an incident last November where we had a small fire in one of our grain bins, and Mike and his crew came out and helped us. And it was a small fire. There was no real damage, but it took all day to get it put out. And a couple of weeks later, we got back together to kind of do a post-incident review, and we were talking about what could we have done, what went well, what could we have done better. And we were discussing these IR cameras. And so I approached our ADM Cares group at corporate and said, can we make a donation to the fire department and the city to buy these cameras? And so here we are today. It's all approved. And all we really need is your blessing to get these things moving forward. I think, like Mike said, they'll be great. They're portable, they're small, they're effective. They're going to speed up response time. And as everybody knows, response time in emergencies is a few seconds either way can be a life or death situation. So we'd be very honored if we could supply these to the city. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
No, it's just nice to see you in person for once.
Other side of the bench today. So.
We've done so many video chats.
Thank you so much, Bill, for this donation. We really appreciate it. And all of the giving team there at ADM. So, yeah.
Do you have any questions for me on the write-up or anything else?
Yep.
I'd just like to add, Bill, as ADM's a wonderful corporate citizen. We appreciate that very much. There was nobody made you or requested anything. It's just on a corporate level. I think go back to the corporate people and tell them how much we appreciate that. And, you're just one of many good corporate citizens in this community, and we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. We try to be invested in our communities because we all live and work here. And again, something like this, it's a no-brainer. If we can help save one life, that amount of money is inconsequential. So,
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve and accept the donation grant from Archer Daniels Midlands Company Corporate Giving Program.
Second.
Motion by Evan, second by Dean. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oh,
We
yeah.
need a roll call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hove.
Aye.
Bizey.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Norton.
Aye.
Stinson. Aye. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. All right, with that, we are on to council number 11, council comments. Any council members with any council comments? I have one, Jay, if you would, we heard from a local resident in the last meeting, and I think we had some follow-up emails, or engineering and Public Works have met with the resident. Do you want to give us a brief overview on where you're at?
Sure. Yep. I'll give you a brief overview. We're doing the overlay on Bush Street. We have, with that project, we have ADA work going in on the corners. And some residents think when you're doing the corners, you're going to be able to do things up and down all the streets. So we met with the homeowner there and looked at ways to make it as good as we can for right now until we do a full reconstruct. And it's very receptive to that. At homeowner on the southwest corner of 6th and Bush, we're going to work with them on getting some steps and a carriage walk put in through an agreement. And then also today, he had sent an email out to council asking about up 6th Street. Now that was on the Bush Street side. On the 6th Street side, he does have a steep driveway. Our project unfortunately does not extend that far to address that driveway, and which would be addressed during a reconstruct. But we think we can do some minor milling and some filling with some bituminous to try to get that grade, so it's not quite such a bump going into his driveway. And he appreciated that. So something we can do while we're there. Nothing real costly to get that done. We've done that in other areas where we know a reconstruct is a few years out, but we try to get your driveway kind of workable in the interim. So he appreciated that. And it's just one of those things that if we could rebuild many more streets and many more blocks every year, we'd be better off, but we're where we're at and have to maintain what we've got. So just want to let you know that, and things are taken care of. And I've got a direct contact with that homeowner now, and he knows to talk to me if anything else comes up. So just wanted to update council because I know you guys have been in the loop on that a fair amount. So.
Thank you for the update and for all of staff that have been working with the residents on projects. So,
Good job.
any other council comments? Okay, that brings us to the council administrator status report.
Okay, good evening. I just had a couple things I wanted to highlight and ask. The first thing is on May 25th, we're proposing that the city council hold a workshop directly before the city council meeting. Actually, now that I think about it, the date I think is the 23rd. It's not the 25th. Sorry about that. But we're hoping that the council would hold a short workshop to talk about two economic development projects in the downtown, very exciting projects. Kyle would like to go through that. We've invited Michaela to come so that we can talk about some of the financing options to make sure council understands that. So I heard back from a couple people, but not everybody. So I just want to make sure we have a quorum that will be able to attend that night.
I'll be there, but I'll be late.
Okay. All right.
Not a lot I can do about it.
Okay.
If I haven't even, yeah, I'm good for that evening.
Okay, good. And then also, thank you for the additional funding for the coalition conference. We're very excited about it. Normally they get about 150 people, and many of these people bring their spouses, so that it is a great attendance in our community. Lots of people walking around, lots of shopping. We're really excited because we get to highlight some of our major manufacturers. They'll be doing tours that day. So we're very excited to host it. If you haven't registered and you can attend, it would be great to have you there. I think it's important for us to be there to kind of talk about our community with all the visitors. And then I want to remind the public that we have open house today or Tuesday, May 10th at the public library. And this is about the water and sewer rates. We've had several conversations at the council level, and we've sent out some information on this, but we are going to have a rate increase. And I know a lot of people are curious about why and what it means to them. So this would be a good opportunity to come and talk to staff about that. And I think I had one other thing. I just wanted to mention too, on page 3 of the status report, we talk about the candidate filing periods. So we do have a special election. That opening is for Ward 2. And then we also have general election where we have several seats up. And so the filing date for all these seats is May 17th, and it ends on Tuesday, May 31st. So if anybody's interested, you can talk to our city clerk and she can get you all the necessary paperwork. That's all I had, unless you have any questions.
Looks like that's pretty good. All right, we'll move on to item 13, a motion to go into closed session to discuss the Fairview Woods LLC assessment objection related to the Red Wing Avenue and Hewitt Boulevard Street Extension Project. The open meeting law, Minnesota State Statute Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B allows the city council to close a meeting for the following purpose, among others, to discuss pending litigation under the attorney-client privilege. Staff will ask the council to close the meeting to meet with its attorney regarding the city's options regarding the Fairview Woods LLC assessment objection. There is a need for absolute confidentiality because the city's position would be compromised if such discussion took place in public and could be overheard by the other party. Accordingly, pursuant to the law I have cited, I will hereby entertain a motion that this meeting be closed pursuant to the attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Evan, second by Dean. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are in closed session.